Big government just got even bigger. Our top story tonight comes from Capitol Hill, where the president has signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law. Formerly known as the Build Back Better plan, the rebuilt bill passed under a promise that inflation would eventually come down due to a combination of higher taxes, deficit reduction measures, and new revenue streams for green energy. Various independent studies show the reduction to inflation would be minimal and years away. Critics also worry there's a potential shakedown coming for the middle class and business owners, since 87,000 new IRS agents will be hired under the new law. CBN News correspondent Brody Carter has been following this story. Brody, how does the massive growth at the IRS go toward paying for this legislation?
Caitlin, first off, we don't even know how much the bill is going to cost. Analysts ballpark the figure around $500 billion, with at least half of that going towards green energy. While the Biden administration maintains the new IRS agents will go after major corporations dodging taxes, the biggest fear is how the middle class might painfully foot the bill. Research and educational institutions like the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. say the middle class won't escape the incoming wave of IRS tax audits.
Mark my words, and mark the words of the CBO and JCT and many other economists, this is going to impact families earning under $400,000 a year, and it will impact small business owners and sole proprietors.
Supporters claim the legislation will reduce inflation by lowering costs for families, combating climate change, reducing the annual deficit, and by raising taxes on big corporations. One tool to get the money is doubling the IRS workforce, with some 87,000 new agents as part of an $80 billion infusion to the agency. Annual audits are expected to greatly increase under this plan.
This is one new IRS agent for roughly every 1,500 households. So think about that. Every neighborhood out there, every big neighborhood, hey, we've got another tax agent that's going to be employed.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen tried to address the concern with a letter directed to IRS officials that neither money nor the new tax agents be used to increase audits performed on the middle class. The National Taxpayers Union still believes the IRS will target small businesses and lower-income families because they often don't have the money to fight back.
And that's not where most of the money is, so they go after small businesses and the middle class, and then people get outraged and demand Congress rein them in, and then Congress does that, and we're just starting the cycle all over again. It's unfortunate Congress hasn't learned anything.
Talk to somebody that's been audited, and you find out that can easily cost you $20,000 or $30,000. Hiking taxes and increasing spending and going down further this road to the Green New Deal, this is going to damage our economy. It's going to harm everyday American families.
Henchman did go on to say the approach here is to double the IRS workforce and see just how much money they can collect, adding the collection process will be quite painful. Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thanks, Brody. Joining us now is tax expert Dan Pilla. Dan, thanks for coming on Faith Nation tonight. The president and Democratic lawmakers insist Americans earning less than $400,000 a year won't pay more in taxes under this new bill. Do you think that's a realistic claim?
No, I think it's false. I think it's absolutely false. The Treasury's own literature clearly shows that they believe that half the tax gap is coming from small businesses. They specifically identify, and I got their analysis and their study right in front of me. They specifically identify the tax gap is coming from partnerships, small corporations, S corporations, and sole proprietorships. Now, Caitlin, by definition, sole proprietorships are mom and pop operations. Small corporations, S corporations, these are small businesses, generally one or two or three members of a small business that operate as an S corporation. The IRS believes, and this is not new, this has been in the literature for decades, the IRS believes that small businesses cheat virtually across the board on their tax returns, not by overstating deductions so much, but rather by hiding income. And as a matter of fact, they state, again, in their own analysis here, that about $200 billion annually comes from underreporting income in certain categories by 50% or more. So they think these small businesses are cheating across the board by hiding their income. And Caitlin, that's where they're coming. They're not going after large corporations. Now, it would be naive to say that certain large corporations will not be audited. The fact is these businesses are always audited. But the lion's share of this attack is coming against small businesses because that's where the money is.
So do you think the IRS will utilize many of its new workers towards going after those smaller businesses, even though they're saying we're only using these workers to go after larger corporations?
Well, let's put it this way. Of the $80 billion appropriation that's going to be spread over 10 years, about 46 billion of that, more than 50%, obviously, 46 billion is going to be focused right on enforcement, including increased audits and collection. So they're going after the enforcement component of this. Now, this is one of my biggest problems with this bill. We've got a tax code in the United States right now that consists of more than 4 million words that was changed more than 5,900 times just since 2001 alone. People need help complying. The vast majority of what we call non-compliance is not non-compliance at all. It's misunderstanding of the tax code. People don't understand, especially small businesses, don't understand what their responsibilities are to achieve full compliance. And yet only 3.2 billion is going to education, 46 billion is going to enforcement. They got their priorities all wrong here, Caitlin.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But Dan, I hope we can have you on again. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks.